AK-47 nigga. So, yeah, I think those were kind of things they were pretty much scared of. But I mean, this is
Dr. What was your
interesting.
What do you see? What would you project this thing will go? Would we see more mass shootings attributed to Jammeh?
Well, I think we all...
Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
ñoo ñëw ak yéen rek skincare plus nara jàkkaarloo ak yéen waxtaan ak yéen tuuti rek si suñu tube suñu baax emuñ rek ci ay diw waaye comme ni ngeen ko xamee rek dañoo yëngu ci ay tube te yënguwuñ nag si just any tube suñ tube bu nekk 5-star Jesna la 5-star Jesna mooy Jesna bi gën a pire moom la ñoo tube palmaan bi gën a fort moom la ñoo liggéeyee buñ demee Bamako ñun duñ dem ci marché bi rek buub indi déedéet dañ leen a jox suñu specs ne leen nii lañ ko bëggee nay lañ ko bëggee fóot bi nangami fóot lañ bëgga pour mu mun a set waaw cuubi skincare déedéet doo ko sol mu di la taxa all over the place ci gàttal ñun rek si cuub dara du doy day des not only dañoo cuub but bu la neexee ñu cuubal la ba pare nag ñawal la ñaw fi mu gën a setee nag rek la ñoo fëlee ñetti ñawkat lañ am nañ ñawkati simple nga xam ne xoppati rek mbaa def sa taille basse def sa dagit def sa roba amul benn dawme am nañ koo xam ne moo ñoo dawme jigéen den am nañ tamit special ñawkat boo xam ne ñawi góor rek la ñoo defal nga bugg sa his and hers muy korité muy tobaski mbaa muy ngénte muy takka mbaa nga bugg rek def sa yëkka bu baax a baax daagul ba ñëw skincare plus ñu dimbali la tànnal la cuub fam gën a baaxee ndax sa yëkka gën a foor lii nga ne lan xoolal bi takka la skincare fii la fu léegi yéen tey we're not all about skin we are skin care and the plus does come in so many different ways. chubantu wuñ de dañ chub bam sap sap
Hello and welcome to the brunch on Kerfatu. I'm Lamin Cham, welcoming you to yet another show. I'm with the usual panel list, Mustafa Dabo, but today we have Dr. Ousman Gajigo is back with us, and for the next hour show, we will be going through the major stories and analysis of them in the week that has just ended. Towards the end of the program, we have a guest, an entrepreneur, or a founder of Wonma, and we will tell you what Wonma is all about. All this in this week's show. Welcome, Dr. Ousman Gajigo and Mustafa Dawo.
Thank you.
Glad to be on.
Now, the major story of the week, of course, has been the cabinet reshuffle. So, if you like, Interior Minister Mbalo has been axed and replaced. The former Inspector General of Police, Yankoba Sonko, has been appointed to replace him. We now have a defense minister, which we didn't have for the last 25 years or so. I think the last holder was Edward Singate in the government of the AFPR, if I could remember, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then we have a new Secretary General, Jallo, and Mr. Kamara, of course, the previous holder. We had both himself and Mbalo, who was at the Ministry of Interior, are going to be deployed to the the foreign service. Did you see it coming, any of you?
Well, no, I didn't see it coming.
Why? You didn't think Mr. Mbalo, who many people have said should have long been sacked in the wake of the Faraba incident as well as the thing, but he was maintaining the job until what suddenly happened last week?
Well, I saw it coming. I think a lot in the cabinet we all believe should go, but I mean to ensure that certain things are done the right way, and in certain, but the reason why I think this particular move had happened is because I think in my mind, I think in Barrow's own mind, he is trying to deal with so many contentious issues, but particularly is trying to soften his position on 3 years, both prepare for 3 years and at the same time softening his position on 3 years. I think these are the two things that probably got him to do this. Why I say that is because the Interior Minister was the one who, he played a huge role in escalating the tension.
Which tension?
The Interior Minister, he said he was going, there is a tank that was, a tank that was
a water
tank that they're going to use to, if you like, burn people with hot water. And he's made several statements, and you could see that on his recent appearance on Kerfatu, I think he has appeared to have softened his position on that, and some say he even apologized. And if you look at that, and this comes immediately after that, I think, and if you watch their performance on Kerfatu, I mean, you see Hamad Ba, the government spokesperson, Mr. Ibrahim Sankara Silla, you see them trying to soften their position on the issue of the 3 years and trying to offer as a solution an alternative to bring the coalition partners to one table and discuss the future of the country, of course. But another thing significant also is the fact that, I mean, if you are to prepare for a situation that we are painting right now in our minds as December would look like, you definitely need someone with reputation of Yakuba Sonko as the interior minister. Definitely not Mbalo. Mbalo appears inexperienced, and I think by all definitions he appeared little more incompetent. In a lot of cases he has problems with expressing himself. He has problems with he doesn't appear tough in a lot of cases that some people believe he should be tough. You remember when my party was there. And so, I mean, these are some of the issues I think that influence the cabinet reshuffle. I think there are a lot of people in the cabinet who should have gone, who should have, if Barrow is necessarily interested in reforming the system, there are a lot of people who would have gone, but I think these were the things that probably triggered the...
Okay, let me, before I cross over to the doctor, you want to believe perhaps I mean, the administration now sees Mr. Mbalo a little bit more conciliatory than he was.
Not conciliatory. I think he had played a part in escalating.
Escalating the tension.
The tension instead of de-escalating it.
So which means...
And his statement was only similar to what Barrow said. Barrow was the only one who said at that point that I will be here whether they like it or not. But Barrow cannot be fired.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but Mbalo played a huge role in that escalation of tension. And he cannot play a role now in the de-escalation. And as the interior minister, he will likely be the front face of any negotiation that will have to be done.
What do you make
with demonstrators, potential demonstrators?
Contrary to that observation, many people think they saw his stand as a bit conciliatory compared to the past. I mean, he seems to, like you said, he seems to be saying that he regretted you know, those statements.
But he did. He said he regretted. But
many people believe that this is what Mr. Barrow observed, that this guy is perhaps getting weak, and I need somebody stronger to be in place ahead of the possible December demonstrations. Could that be correct?
I doubt it. I think Barrow is trying to bite at the same time blow.
I see.
Like, because it's a very precarious situation. You don't want to push so hard, but you don't want to also appear weak.
Okay. Let's get a doctor. Doctor, what do you make of the change, Mr. Mbalo as minister and replaced Jankuba?
And
do you know both personalities very well?
No, I don't know any of them in very
you know the background of Jankuba?
Yes, I understand that he was...
he was a career policeman for a long time.
Yes. Well, I have a couple of problems. I mean, I have a couple of issues with the changes. It's less about the personalities in themselves, but more about the, you know, like when you are going to make a change in the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Defense. I think the key thing that should be in your mind how you're going to implement security sector reform. These two institutions are the two key security units in any security reform. And bringing anyone into the police, you want to make sure that you bring in someone there who is going to chart a new course, different from what we have experienced, not only over the past 22 years of the Jammeh regime, or we can say the past 25 years in general, and also what has happened beforehand in the Jawara regime. The idea is bring people who are able to think, you know, differently. Okay. You know, implement things that are new. You know, because the police, the way they are doing things right now in these past 3 years of the Barrow regime hasn't changed in any way or form compared to in the Jammeh regime. So. Again, the Jammeh regime, you know, beyond obviously his obvious human rights abuses that he did, the blatant ones, in terms of the everyday day-to-day work of the police, there wasn't any structural difference between Jammeh's regime and Jawara's regime. But this is not where we want to be. You know, when you talk about what police should be doing, how you know, everyday citizens we should be interacting with the police, we should be free from harassment by the police, we should be free from checkpoints. The police should have, you know, should be professional, should be well equipped. You know, you need to look, you need to bring in people who can we can be confident that they are going to chart a new course, not just to continue what has been going. So this is my problem with this reshuffle in terms of what it means for any security reform. So if anyone is concerned about security reform, I think you're worried that your fears and your worries are not going to be allayed by this change. It's the same thing if you look at the Ministry of Defense. Some may think that, okay, it's probably a good thing to remove the Ministry of Defense from under the State House and have its own separate ministry. But actually, so there are two issues here. Forget about who is the new defense minister. Separating the defense ministry from the office of the president by itself actually is likely in the short term to make things worse.
How?
Because right now,
many people would think that this is perhaps the most effective way of
thinking from the financial point of view.
Financial and also security sector reform. In any security sector reform, you need the military to be far, far smaller than it is right now. The problem with setting up a separate ministry is that no ministry ever advocates it becoming less important. Once you set up an institution, like every living entity, its primary objective is self-perpetuation and self-sustainability, to basically exist. That is the #1 entity of every organization, the #1 goal, objective of every organization. So, and no entity goes out of its way to make itself smaller, to make its sphere of influence smaller, to make its operations smaller. They always, at an absolute minimum, stay where they are. But even despite their best effort, your normal operations and ensures that you just get bigger and bigger. So, in any security reform in the Gambia, we need the military to go from its bloated sector and its bloated size to something that is manageable, that is consistent with the needs of the country.
You think Mr. Fike can do this, or is it?
No.
Is that because?
So that's why I said there are two issues. So the first issue is independent of who is in power. If you create a separate ministry, it's going to despite what they would even want, you're going to create duplication of positions. Now there's a minister. So now the minister is going to have all of the other functions surrounding any minister that previously were not needed in the office of the president, but now they would be needed. The minister would want to demonstrate he's doing certain things. Just in the process of that demonstration, the operations, the finance, the funding of the ministry, things would just get bigger instead of smaller.
I see.
So that is the main issue.
But wouldn't it lead to the smoother or effective discharge of duties in terms of delivery service to the general betterment of the people working in the defense, example, the army and...
Well, but that's the problem. What is the main function of the army right now? The main function of the army is supposed to be to protect the country against external aggression, maintain the territorial integrity of the country. The question is, a separate Ministry of Defense, are they going to do that better than when the ministry is under the State House?
That's what is hoped.
No. Currently, do we have that as a problem? Do we have threat to the territorial integrity of the Gambia? Of all the security problems we have, where would you put that in the list of priorities? That problem is non-existent. If you have a separate ministry, you are prioritizing a need that we don't have. In other words, you are creating a solution for a non-existent problem. In other words, a ministry like Ministry of Defense is going to prioritize a solution that we don't have a problem for. So, what we need and what should be paramount in security sector reform is a military that is as small as possible and preferably even non-existent.
Well, that would be difficult.
Well, I can make a very strong case of why the country doesn't need military. I will not go into that. But the point I'm trying to make is, in any security sector reform, if you speak to anyone who knows this issue, and other people have spoken about this, it means shifting the priorities from defense, from military to police. If you create a ministry, you are delaying that process.
Okay.
So let's go to the second part about the, if you will, about the identity of the person that's in there.
Yes.
The problem I have with that, again, is the same issue with the identity of the individual going into the Ministry of Interior. Again, what we are seeing in this government time and again is recycling officials from the Jammeh regime in this government, which makes it very difficult to chart a new course. When you populate your government with the personalities and officials of the previous regime, what you ensure is a continuation of the same practices and policies. You know.
Yeah, but people can always argue that. I mean, if you want to pursue such a policy where you said everybody who might have worked with the previous regime is therefore not competent or not qualified to continue work with the regime and for this present regime or anyone coming, people might say you might be left with nobody actually. Because
I'm glad you brought that up because that's not what I'm arguing, and there's a difference. There is nothing in principle against hiring people from the previous regime and letting them work here. I can give you a lot of examples of people who I would recommend who work for the Jammeh regime, who are competent. The key criteria is what they achieved during the time they were working in the previous regime. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be the Jammeh regime. I'll give you an example. I was against the appointment of O.J. Jallow in the as Minister of Agriculture. He didn't work for Jammeh. I'm against him because his experience was working under the Jawari regime, and he achieved nothing as Minister of Agriculture. So what would you expect him to achieve now as Minister of Agriculture in this new government? So it's the same criteria I'm using. If you are going to take anyone from the previous regime and put them in this regime, the experience doesn't matter. What matters is what they actually accomplished when they were serving in the previous regime.
Now, Mustafa, let me come to you. When the news broke out, when the news came on that there has been a minor cabinet reshuffle, what most analysts who are, let's say, very worried about whether this 3 years Jotna and this thing, they just simply said, Mr. Barrow's government is worried about what might happen, so he hired strong men who have been known to be, in the case of Yankuba, who have been known to be very, very strong when it comes to, like Yankuba, like he said, is enmeshed in these allegations of, police brutality, even when Jammeh's time. That such people are perhaps men he wants now, so that he can cohese or nip down any possible rebellion in December. Do you think, did you see any such thinking in Mr. Barrow's cabinet reshuffle?
So,
well, people say, well, this is just to enforce security.
Well,
just what some people
that's basically what it is. I mean, if you look at the two security institutions, this is where appointments were made.
Yeah.
Of course, we know the reason why perhaps the SG had come. Of course, I have not verified this, but we had Mr. Kamara was sick, and that's the reason why he was
that's almost certainly true.
So we know that his replacement was obvious. But the reason why these appointments were done was primarily to effect change in the two security institutions. And obviously, this is not, it's not about reform. We know that. Because like Dr. Gajigo said, no one in his right mind would say that the entire government or the entire people who served Jammeh should be sacked.
Yes.
People are merely saying that someone who had done what questionable behavior,
should not be put in influential positions,
or someone who had been known to have been involved in a human rights violation,
should not be put in there,
or any act of state heavy-handedness should not be welcomed back into government, because there is a likelihood that it could happen again. Okay. Now, who are the people under whose authority these people picked Solo Sunday? It was Yakuba Sonko. Under whose authority did these people, did the paramilitary picked Dabo and others? It was Yakuba Sonko. Yeah. And there were so many other things. I mean, the NIA, some NIA testimonies that had happened, he was there. Yeah. So some NIA panels at NIA headquarters, he was there. Yeah. So, I mean, he was part of a system that abused rights. And this is the, this was the problem.
What doesn't that, these issues have been raised before? I mean, the president had said, or the government has said, well, until and unless investigations are completed and they've indicted them, we cannot move against them. So
yeah, but the problem with that is it's only in the
people mentioned in TRRC are still on the job, on their jobs.
No, it's only in the Gambia you have someone telling you that. That's what I'm saying. Because in fact, right now as we speak, the guy who had the procurement office in Ghana has been suspended.
Yes,
why?
absolutely.
Because an investigative journalist, Manasseh Azuri, had exposed that he had allegedly been involved in corruption.
Yes.
And he's been suspended.
Just immediately
Pending
after those
investigations.
Yes. So
Investigations
but
are in the Gambia.
in the Gambia,
the president is telling
you stay until you are definitely charged.
So this is the problem. And there are people in the system who, in fact, there is currently 2 permanent secretaries and 1 procurement officer who already the justice minister says should have been charged, and they're still in the system.
They're still charged.
No one has charged them, no one has done any. So that happens in the Gambia. But the bottom line is, these are the people Barrow is comfortable working with. And that tells you who Barrow is.
Okay.
I mean, that's the bottom line. People just avoid it and say, oh, they are putting Barrow in trouble. No one is putting Barrow in trouble. Barrow, you don't know Yakuba more than Barrow. Barrow is the most powerful man in this country. He has access to every available intel. Every intel available to every intelligent organization. Police, Gambia Immigration, NIA, Drug Squad.
Even foreign.
Every intelligence organization.
Even foreign.
Yes, goes to him. Even a needle drops in this country, Barrow is aware. So you don't know Yakuba better than him. So this is the guy he's comfortable with.
So, but you, in your thinking, Yakuba definitely don't deserve to be called back to government and given this senior position.
We have been told Yakuba had done a lot in reforming the police.
Yeah.
But the fact that's what we were told. Yeah. But we've seen his visible involvement in things in the past that we are trying to bury.
Now listen,
you are bringing it back to life. If you are
does indeed lend credence to the argument when he was sacked. I mean, allegedly it was said that the government came under pressure by not sacking him when they have sacked or have removed heads of institutions that probably are believed to be one way or other connected with Jammeh's either human rights abuse or abuse of the economy. He was maintained for some time. I mean, he was the last among the security chiefs or something to be changed. Government then, it was said, was under pressure. Why didn't they remove him? Just because maybe he was more politically correct or he was more close to the powers that be at the time. He was removed under that pressure. But now, don't this elected credits then, he's now even given more powerful responsibility. So what is the change? What new reasons have Barrow got now? Has Barrow got?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at it, and this is the guy who we are told. I mean, this is what security officials are telling us. This guy, of all the IGPs is in the recent past, there is barely anyone who has had more influence in the police like him.
For better or for worse?
Well, some for better because he is the one who is credited for establishing even the credit union facility of the police, which is perhaps the wealthiest credit union in the country, and a lot of other things in the police. So he is known to have done a lot of things.
So it's good news to the police, perhaps?
Well, you could say that, but to what end?
In the interest of the people, yes.
So you could see that this is the guy who is likely going to be very much obeyed by the police.
Do you know anything?
And you know what that could mean?
Do you know anything about the new permanent, SG, he's the permanent secretary?
Well, we know he was the one who dealt with the teacher strike. He was the PS at the Education Ministry at that time.
And what happened?
Well, he escalated it anyway.
He escalated the tension.
He's said to be a disciplinarian, Mr. Jallo. I know very little about him, but a lot of people think he's a disciplinarian. And
so he raised the tension with
he escalated it because
and got promoted to permanent secretary, minister of office of the president, and now secretary general.
And now secretary general. But I think we need to do a security service sector reform, to do a civil service reform in this country. I think we need a tougher voice.
Than Mr. Jallo.
A tougher voice who doesn't, you know, people here care a lot about being sacked.
I see.
I mean, if you are in a government position, you say, oh, I don't want to do this because if I do this, I will be sacked. What is wrong with being sacked?
Because you have been put there to think independently.
And do the right thing. If you are sacked, you are sacked. Go get another job.
So people will just be there and be told what to do and not
so
innovate.
I think we need a more radical, tougher head of civil service who is going to reform the civil service. We are even told even the wage bill. It's I think close to over 3 billion now.
Well, they were trying to.
They were thinking of retrenchment,
ghost workers. Well, ghost workers first. and then see.
Yeah, but ghost workers were long gone.
Well, but that's what they said. They
said
they must start somewhere. Remove the ghost names and then come to the real people at the.
Yeah, but you know very well, boss, that the ghost workers had gone. And the problem we had with the ghost workers was because we said we had a wage bill of close to 3 billion or 3 billion plus. We said this was taking too much because we had every year we pay in terms of debt financing, we paid about 60%, we said.
Right.
Now we're saying this is the problem. Now you remove this, and instead of having a sustainable revenue base within, you went and also increased domestic salary by basic salary by 50%. You are adding the burden, and and people have not gone home and stuff.
So we've got 2 new ministers, defense and interior, whose works are relatively correct. That's why most people are saying that it's more or less a move to beef up security ahead of December, whatever might happen there. There was also this small matter of the Gambia Ports Authority coming now to explain their side of the story. Why do they ask $700,000 to be removed from their funds to go and build a police?
No, that is a fraction of the total.
A fraction of the total, but that's what we've seen anyway.
That was 20%.
Yes.
That's 20%.
So Mr. Jabate, the managing director, has come out to say this is money that should have been from them to government, and there was an agreement to use it in this way. Do you believe it, Mr. Gajigo?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with Mr. Jabate in his office.
After the incident?
Yes.
He's actually very passionate. He's almost an activist.
So you definitely go to the source of the
Yes, he's almost an activist, I can tell you.
That's quite
impressive. Because it's good to get to the bottom of it. And during the time also, I spoke with some board members about this. This issue was wrong on many levels.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, by the way, another issue that came up and that actually appeared in your newspaper was the issue of Gambia being, being pointed out by the U.S. government as not being fiscally transparent.
Yes.
So this actually is an
example of that.
Perfect example. It's, the U.S. government couldn't have asked for a perfect, example here to actually, back up its claim. So when you talk about fiscal transparency, what do you mean? There are 3 parts. One, the budget information is public. It is, it's also something that is, the information is, is transparent.
Yeah.
But the third part I want to emphasize is that it's credible.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the beginning, for each fiscal year or for each calendar year, the government would publish its the budget. It's a highly publicized process. The National Assembly will vote on it. So we all see the document. The Minister of Finance goes before the National Assembly and read out the document. A key part of fiscal transparency means that what the government say they are going to, spend the budget on should mirror closely what the actual expenditures are exposed.
Okay.
So now, for all the ministries, for this year, for all the ministries, all the sectors, what the government planned on spending in those was put in the 2019 budget and was voted on by Parliament. So for each ministry, you have the development budget and the recurrent budget. Yes. So in the Ministry of Interior, the recurrent budget would be things like the salary of the policemen, the annual operating expenditures of police stations and other things in other parts of the ministry. The development budget would be the construction of the police stations, for instance.
Yeah.
Now, the budget has been passed already.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about, now you come this year, and then you have an instruction to GPA, which is under a different line Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Yes.
And you're asking them to allocate a substantial amount of money for the construction of a police station. The board of the GPA looked at this issue and say no. And the Ministry of Finance still instructed them to.
So the board had actually said no?
Yes, the board had looked at it and say no.
But Jabata didn't say that in his explanation.
No, he wasn't being truthful. And I warned him, I told him in passing, you know, in positions like this, you need to be truthful. You know, if the consequences, whatever they are, at least you can hold up your head high. But many people, as Mr. Dabo mentioned here, are too desperate to hold onto their position, unfortunately.
Yeah, they won't ask questions.
Yes, and when you have certain individuals like that, you can't, things will not function as they should be. So the problem here is that there is no fiscal transparency in this particular. This is just one example. What this tells you is that our budget allocation for development budget for Ministry of Interior now, if you look at 2019, will deviate significantly from what was in the budget, what was presented before the public and the National Assembly last year. So in other words, there is no budget credibility. What is presented to the public and what ends up happening in terms of expenditures, they deviate significantly.
Because what is not in the budget has finally been spent.
Exactly. Now in this
case,
GBVA, yeah, exactly. In this case, so now let's go to, you mentioned of course the fact that in fact this thing is not in the budget. Well, it should have been the budget taken by Ministry of Interior if they plans building police stations.
Exactly.
Now, but what do you make of this argument? The managing director said they had money. I think that is true. Their contract arrangement with government, for example, they have to give government
pay dividends every year
and everything to the government. And it is this money that the government asked them, wow, instead of bringing it to us, just go and build a station.
How is it paid? The question is how are dividends paid?
Yes.
From public servants, public enterprises to the government. I think that's...
Is it not the case that this process should have followed first? If the government wants, they can give it to the Ministry of Interior to do it, rather than, you know, asking people to get money from it. That's just what the Jani Commission have been saying.
Exactly. I mean, this is how corruption happens. If you look at the Jani, as you said, if you look at just a snapshot of what was discussed under the Jani Commission, the whole improper and misallocation of resources, corruption, embezzlement, it all comes up. I mean, if you want organizations to work, and government is a huge organization, you need processes, clearly defined processes, things to happen.
Exactly.
I cannot just say, oh, I'm paying, I need to pay the police or the teachers in Basse, you know, but the government owns Gamcel. Hey, Gamcel, how about your profit? Just go, this year you are going to go and pay the doctors and the police in Basse. You know, because there is no clear process. If you start following such chaotic rules,
so many things
a lot of resources can be lost, corruption can happen, and these people know better. They know that this is not the right process.
But what do you make of his other claim that this directive didn't come from State House? Who could have ordered them to do it, and they do it? Since the board said no.
So it doesn't matter who the directive come from. That's a diversion.
But do you believe him?
No. First of all, I think
I think
it's a cover.
Laboring on he's sending us to on a wild goose case.
Exactly. Who could have ordered and it be done if the board said no?
But let's get to the other point about. Let's not get sidetracked, because, like he said, he's sending on a wild goose case. Asking this question is playing his game. It doesn't matter who sent it. Number one, the point that it is sent is wrong.
It's wrong.
Number two, this order fiction that this claim came from the IGP is a fiction, because there's actually a factual error in it. In this press release, they said that the IGP sent a request for 3 police stations, one in Mankamankunda, one in Bakadaj, one in Fatwa.
All of them in Juara.
Yes. And the IGP would know where the police stations are and where there are no police stations.
But Fatoto has a police station. Fatoto already has a police station.
Maybe to upgrade.
But how would you tell me the IGP doesn't know where he has police stations? But then he should be fired right away.
No, but look,
we should occupy IGP's office.
But to be fair with the IGP, the home village of Karila had a barracks and etc. etc.
So that's a justification.
You will renovate the police station with $1 million.
If you made me president, when I want to stay in Kolior village, I will have a security post there. So,
of course, but no one is even, you see, there are 2 distractions in this whole mess. One is building a police station in Mankamankunda, no one cares. If you want to build a police station in Manka, perfect. Don't do it.
Follow the process.
No one cares. No one actually is saying don't build a police station in Mankamankunda. That's a distraction here. And nobody is also saying that they're just telling us, no one is saying the President Adam Barrow said they should build a police station. No one is saying that. No one even cares.
He never even said.
What people are saying is that this is wrong.
Yeah, the way
the procedure was not followed.
Okay, not because the place need a police station or something. That's a job for some security analyst or whatever. Yeah. But what is wrong is public funds are being asked to go and pay for this police station where there are appropriate institutions and budgets for this kind of things.
And processes. The key, don't forget, the process is important. Yeah. When people who know the process, instead of following it, deliberately go against the process, then that's the question start raised, why are they going against the process? Let me give an idea. Yeah. To build a police station is a long process. Even if you start talking to contractors today, chances that you will start the actual construction before the end of the year will be low. We already know right now is the time for the budget preparation for next year.
Absolutely.
What is the emergency that building of the police station
cannot
next
be
year
in the budget.
cannot be in the development budget of the ministry
for next year.
This has been done right now. What is the emergency to circumvent the rules and procedures? Destroy corporate governance in the process of the GPA.
And was the project bid? Because I cannot remember police asking for bidding to build a police station in Mankamang.
They don't bid these days.
Have you seen the bid?
They don't bid these days.
Oh, it's less than 500.
These days, it's the cabinet that approves this. So this that's how they do it.
And so they want a bidding process. I've never remembered a bidding where the police said,
no, but 3 major projects of the past since Barrow came to power, there were several projects, including the buying of the fisheries, the surveillance vehicle for the fisheries sector.
It was already bought.
It was cabinet that reportedly approved it. And
there was no bidding.
It's GPPA that does this kind of thing.
So if
the Banjul project wasn't in the cabinet,
so if the board of directors, as Dr. said, had gone against this decision, so who's to blame for it? Squarely Mr. Jabata, the managing director.
And not only him and his management. If the finance director, Tamsir Salah, also didn't sign, this transfer wouldn't happen. Okay. So it's a chain of failures, not only from the management.
Not learn from the journey.
Oh, they will always say it's from the top. But no, top is not an excuse.
No, this is what they actually.
So they never learn from the Jani Commission. One day, commission will come and Mr. Jabata and others will be paraded there and say, "Why did you approve this? That who ordered you?" They would say it's Barrow at the time, like these people said of Jammeh. We couldn't resist it. It came from Barrow. At least this one will be on record that he said he did not come from Barrow, so he's responsible.
See, yeah, the problem here, that's why I wouldn't even ask whether this thing came from Barrow. Because these sort of things,
and now,
there wouldn't be a written record for it.
With all this,
there are usually no written records.
Now, with all this uproar now, do you think the Mankamang police station project will go ahead?
Will be built?
I don't know. Well, I mean, like he said, the problem is not the building of it. It could be
the most angry, could build a small police station there to take care of the village.
The most angry man of this will of course be the contractor, who perhaps was about to smile.
I definitely have no problem with Barrow building a police station at his home. If there is a security need for it, I'm not a security expert.
But the problem is the process wrong as far as you are concerned.
As far as I'm concerned, if the process is
okay,
wrong,
moving on. Or perhaps this is good time for us to listen to a vox pop. That is people, who've been, contacted at random and their opinions sought over many matters. One of the matters, of course, this police station, Mankamang Kunda, police station, GPA,
and of course,
GPA, and then of course something that was trending online might not have been treated in the mainstream media, but very much dealt with in the social media. Is an alleged list of food items that are provided at State House for
some chicken breast and
for
the
president's food. I mean, many people say the list, the document is authentic. We have not had the government reacting to it, but they didn't deny that it existed. So we should say for sure that list definitely is the list of food we saw. There is food being provided for the president's consumption. But when you say president, I don't think the president can eat, or he alone can eat all
this. He alone cannot eat the State House budget.
But it's the president's food anyway.
Anyway, chicken breast.
So what do people make? How much they said it costs a month or is it a year?
2 million.
2 million a year?
A month, I think.
And all that food president consumed. If I meet him,
the first person of the state should eat first-class food.
Whenever I will meet him, I will say, boy, well, how can you consume all? You didn't even think about me. But let's see what the people make of it anyway in this video that is coming next.
welcome to this special report on The Brunch. This is Kirfatu. I am Sally Job. We're out in the streets to find out from people about a document that was leaked on social media, which indicates the president's monthly budget and GPA Gambia Ports Authority sponsoring to construct a police station in Mankamankunda. We're out to find out from people what do they make out of these documents that were leaked showing the president's monthly budget and GPA Gambia Ports Authority sponsoring to build a police station in Mankamankunda. Stay tuned, this is The Brunch.
What do we get for internet? Abuka ketonyat. Ha? Yo, nimite kwana nkobe o consider le diamo kono esita wrong. Bari asikeno ko itoleka ni memfo aman ketonyat. Ha? Asikeno itoleka memfo aman ketonyat. Ha? Uja mota of hono la mensa fono ko tonyala adambaro kanyine dom. Yalo mota of hono. Atoli internet o sai buka tonya itoli ka folo do mendi ata mol dai sai ka wolef nya ata tonyalem itoli fanan ka mendo mo curriculum o siatal nya ata nu kambe ko do man siajan sai itoli fanga ka wolef ko do man tara siare o to nin ko do man siya o nya me itoli fanan man na o do mo la o siatal nya ata tonyalem wala mude katun tata fo no tonya adam baro na la modu kanyine do sain kumo ka fo internet to tonya tek mol ka kumo fo le mem man ke tonya yo
man de sama gis-gis bariwul de yoko tere rek la ko gis rek waaw lolou yeb ci jamm la xaj rek bo gisee ñu dem ba ko diko dépasser baxna waaw nañ ko ñaanal rek gudu fan ak wër geram rek ak yoko tere rek ñun tamit ñu mun ci gis suñu bop waaw
comme luñ ko expliquer dal muy xalaat youth ci di xalaat ñu bari tamit comme gis nga ñun nuñ fi soné ni boy ñeneen ñi ñu ngi ci marché bi di hustle ñeneen ñi ñu ngi bàyyi seen job tok amuñ liggéey I understand so mun na mo spend mo doon lolu sax waaye comme tamit na gestu ñeneen ñi ci gannaaw mu dimbale youth yi invest process yu bari mu invest lu bari xam nga jàppale boy ñu ngi ni tok amuñ liggéey amuñ dara te fi suñ dëkk la xam nga fi leen juddoo duñ mëna gëna dem beneen dëkk pour liggéey so ñun daal luñ ko ñaan rek mooy mu jàppale ñu daal réew mi dem ci kanam as far as time bi ni moom moo ko amee so mu jàppale ñu rek ci réew mi daal ñun boy ñun tamit ñu mun a jàppale suñ gars yi xam nga so loolu rek la am lu ma wax ci moom.
loolu is too much si man bari na torop xaalis boobu fu mu war a dugg bari na si dëkk bi nga xam ne xaalis bi dafa war a dugg so xaalis boobu noonu loolu west la rek si ñun because ñun fu ñu jógee xam nañ ko yëpp xam nañ ne fu ñu jógee nii so xaalis boobu pour dugal ko foofu noonu loolu daal is crazy man gomuma ko sax dama ko dégg ne waaye gomuma ne ko gars yi dina def loolu daal loolu moom non fooguma ko daal su fekkee loolu moo am loolu xaalis la rek xaalis boobu noonu is too much bari na torop puis non is crazy su ma bëgg a wax ne moom na wax yëpp because fu mu ne nii maa ngi mer sax de yes so gars yi nañ xam xale fu ñu ko dugal daal xëy na dañ xamuñ naka lañ ko amee moo tax ñu ko cop rek loolu la yes
o siya batal definitely o siya batal so ntol bitano ñaato ñaadi de ni adra o ko bo do la ko fanan ka bonni men kata foyel ñol to ani fonkolo wol data ko kon o mu balu dam malat so foyel ñol ni ku ko tangol ni ditano ñaato boy o is too much o siya batal sila nin dol ba sinna dol ba sarna itol men mu ñaato ko de to lañanda wurla dol fana nga bule no nga wur nga silo e banko e deda basila ni tol fongol ba tiñaro la sila ko man ko le kala ñaadi ala foye ko ntefe o ko jalo nyante o talalal waaw o siya batal
ndanga je nyami wokay o man fe ay no because banko kodo nyim banko be tam kodo da manke mo klintade no so bar yalo kuma jamaale fana ka fo media ka siale so maybe fana skeno aka do mole wala bu ka do moy no ba ni be mo nyaato banko nyaato ka yala e ka try le bi ya try yetlin silo la no wala kuma de saje men be no ma do ko wala fana sitlin no silo la no alka ko do men nan ko mo fana wala do mo siata la o manyana kake because nara wala banku dimo mo be nyanda ka fen so do banku wala ko do to le no so bantol dol baka fen so do banku wala ko do so wo is not fair yeah man binna diamo man ta jam fala wala mun na diamo
ngamoy diamo to jenne ngamoy kibaro to ko ka fen ko cité sono lo manka makunda amunta wo fanan ni aje balo laje o fanan nyanta kelal fo police ol ngamire to lebe do ko la kambe o fanan nyanta kelale atara nuoma kela do kut itol fana manyen na kela bar ni atara wonyanta kela le do we fen police station wonyanta tale italo di ala banko ntol bela gu fen ko le wot ha o mante ko adam baro yo kela mante ku o be mu mansa to tinyala le wol beti wol be kan to la mansa to le fon adam baro je ngasin ala le asindiji mo ma sindiget adam baro ala le asindi nim palaso nimme alon ko ala talla manso wala ka mansa sindi ha ntol be balon nele ko ala le nim mansa sindi nyenta to an nga do man kambe do yata fitino yale ntol la jam bankunding ha ni amo jali ba ko ya ko bankunding banko kunama woto nga do man nyofe ntol lebe kilingoti
wa lolu it's normal parce que xam nga so amé police station sa deka dang dem mëna secure ndé mëna jappalé deka bi YouTube bari tamit xam nga ndé mëna sonal deka bi so lolu non yef daf leen ndé mëna jappalé xam nga
loolu tamit dégg naa ko xam nga man maa ngi port man tamit port staff la maa ngi fa waaye loolu daal dama ko dégg nii rek waaye gomma ne suñu gars yi dinañ def loolu daal yes maa ngi advice gars yi ne am na xaalis bi fu mu war a dugg bari nañ station boobu noonu pour dugg loolu moom I think is a waste definitely loolu waruñ koo def daal yes
okay yalo fana na askeno ay loje bara nyanda tala ni silole la because of koku ninga bena la silole pod manyana wula mon doko straight way to le okay faye ni o kera nyame ndo strong way la ngota because silole nyanda tala me nyanda o police station o lola o fana na silobe jel ban pod manyana wula don ko ke faye don comme wolam dictateur sitia don
police station o kay obe kunda development o ko na nin kantaro la tanko banko la tanko ka police station o ka manka mankunda aman kasia because manka mankunda ifana they are part of Gambia eba Gambia la kono no so okay is not a big deal o manka problem that station o ke no je pour kantaro e sone a banko kay no yeah man no manke la responsibility de o manke to la do kwoti e manya na ka okay no banina rajbe in other way fana bebe development o la kono you can understand so fana manka kasiti no yeah.
Viewers, what do you make out of these opinions made by Gambians regarding the spending of the president's monthly budget at State House, including his family, and also GPA sponsoring a construction of a police station in Mankamankunda? Some feel there's nothing wrong with the president's budget, that he's a president, he is entitled to spending that much. Others feel the money is too much and it could be used for something else. While also others feel GPA shouldn't be responsible in constructing a police station for the president in Mankamankunda. Others also feel it's a contribution towards the national development. Back to the studio. This is Sally Job.
Welcome back to the brunch. So we had the people, ordinary people, talking about what they think of the $2 million that President Barrow is allegedly eating every year, and the GPA, which we have discussed, whether there's due process have been followed in their attempts to transfer $700,000 plus to a contractor for the construction of a police station in Mankamankunda. This is the brunch on Kerfatu. We continue. And now our next topic, of course, is the TRRC. Now, the TRRC have opened a new chapter. They have finished the Jungle series, they have finished the media, they had finished other areas. But last week, they started very quickly. We must not expand on this because it has not finished. The April 11, case, testimonies from victims, surviving victims, that actually some of them maimed, permanently, and some, going around, but they still live with the psychological trauma, as they said. There was an interesting testimony from one Jaimani. I think even the commissioners were somewhat bemused about how about his supernatural powers. You followed Mr. Gajigo?
Well,
but it's a serious matter anyway. So, where did you take out of that?
Well, I actually watched it, but I didn't take that one seriously, so I must have forgotten all of.
But then, yes.
This particular session was very interesting because, of course, a lot of us were sort of. We are still in the mood of the junglers, still because a story was told. It's like you start something, you go high up there and then started coming down. So this is not about more killings. It's about killings, but it's not about more killers as junglers. So Ali Ujain just finished the jungler session, and we are now on to the 10 and 11. And it's an interesting story. I mean, if you look at how the whole
thing started,
we're beginning to understand how the whole thing started, and we're beginning to see a pattern as to who were the operational commanders at the time. You know, several names have started coming up: Ousman Gajigo, Colonel Jata, the paramilitary mentioned often, very often, and you have. So this would lead us to.
And even the military,
understanding
some serving military would have been named.
Absolutely,
to have been among the perpetrators.
Absolutely. So, we in the process of the investigators and the commissioners are in the process of preparing the ground. Before the alleged perpetrators are invited. So I think evidence is going very well.
How many big fish have been implicated so far?
So far, it's not very
it's growing.
much.
Ousman Gajigo was
Usman was mentioned.
Minister
Wasakamara, yes.
Yes.
But
former Vice President.
Of course, he was the one on the ground. But also, you remember when Demba Njai, the former
protocol to the president at the
not
beginning.
Protocol.
And later what?
He was in the US they call it the chief of staff.
Chief of staff.
We used to also have a chief of staff on the job.
Yes.
This gentleman, because this is after the change, he was appointed the chief of staff.
Did he touch this area?
Yes, the Manjai actually said when this happened, he was with Jambe in Cuba.
Yes, that's right.
And Jambe was speaking on the phone. And he actually heard what Jambe said. So apparently, it looks likely that the orders came from Jambe. So, but the explanation that would have been vital for the Gambian people to also understand was the basis of Njai's statement that the protesters were carrying guns.
What would you expect her to say? I mean, when she comes to the commission, she's not going to say, well, I've been asked to, the statement was all prepared and I've been asked to deliver it.
Well, so that we will know. So when we get to the bridge, we will cross. So we will know whether, in fact, the orders were passed on to him
what I really found very touching was that, so even when the victims were flown to Cairo to be treated, you know, purportedly by the government as a way of things, they were still, you know, afraid of telling the whole story. So they keep in their medical reports, and they didn't even pay.
They took it from them.
They didn't even pay the bills. Neither do they pay the plane tickets to bring them back. And that was really very, very touching.
They took, in fact, Mr. Jame, the one who was shot on the knee, told me that when he actually arrived at the airport from Cairo, they took his medical papers from him.
Yes.
Because at that time it was a sensitive issue, so you don't want people to know all the specific, like this gentleman has been diagnosed and AK-47 bullet taking out of his body.
They don't want those to be recorded for posterity.
So if those kind of details are out, everybody knows who carries an AK-47 in the gun. So, yeah, I think those were kind of things they were pretty much scared of. But I mean, this is
Dr. What do you see? What would you project this thing will go? Would we see more mass shootings attributed to Jammeh?
Well, I think we all know what happened. I mean, this is not the end. I mean, as a TRRC, I mean, as the process goes, we will find out more what has happened, and it will just, you know, some of those things will just be, you know, just verification of what we suspected. Yeah, no, I think it is great what's happening in TRRC. All these records are coming out. But what we need to think about is afterwards. What happens after that?
Yes.
And that's something I've been concerned about. What happens after the TRRC reveals all the records? Yes, because you can't have complete truth. I mean, just reconciliation, reparations, and expect the country to move on when you have perpetrators walking free. If there is no consequence for these perpetrators, what do we mean by never again?
Never again.
How is never again actually going to happen if there is no consequence for violating people's rights, for murder, torture, kidnapping, rape, and all of these things?
And you see, from what we have had in the
I
past,
think that's
and now
the
been verified.
I think that's the discussion we've just started now. That's the discussion the release of the junglers have thrust us into. People have begun to question who gets amnesty before the TRRC. When TRRC says it's going to only go after people who bears the greatest brunt of responsibility, how does it decide that? But these are things that will become clearer as we move on.
I observed as they did with the 1994 coup, they're trying to know how the whole thing started. Like he was talking about, it started that, students perceived that injustice had been done. First, to girl who was raped, and then to Barry who was protesting and got beaten to death. So the students have every right, according to them, to demonstrate.
To show their anger.
Two injustices happened. One the loss of life and one rape. You don't know which one is more serious.
And mind you, there was already a commission of inquiry into this, even though the commission report was not published.
What did it say? It said the students themselves are to blame, and the people who shot them were given amnesty or whatever.
Whenever we talk about that one, let's just call it for what it was. It was a farce. It wasn't like a real, it was anyone for a second believe that a real commission of inquiry, a credible one, would exist under Jammeh? No, obviously not.
Nobody knows.
So that thing, what it needed to say, in that the findings of that commission of inquiry was determined even before it was constituted.
Constituted.
What they were going to say, what they were going to find, that was decided.
It was, in fact, the commissioners did a good job, at least, because I remember a school headmaster taking what was left of life ammunitions that dropped off from the soldiers who came to his school. He took it to the commission and said, now these people are saying it's not true, this is the truth. I kept this. And this is true that they came with life ammunition. It was very interesting. So there was compelling evidence that the security people shot the children and not the other way around. Dr. Aissatou said he was quoted saying that it's the children who started the shooting. I don't know whether they had even the wherewithals to start shooting, but I'm sure all those will unfold later. Now we move on finally to this topic, twin topics, that is. There was a fiery exchange between Honorable Madi Ceesay, NAM for Serekunda West, and presidential advisor who until recently I think is not very much known as much as Dudu Sano. This one is Siaka Jata. He's saying that Honorable Ceesay's comments are treasonable.
By the way, Siaka is also a political advisor to the president.
To the president, yes.
How many political advisors does the president?
I don't know the count. But let's look at what they say. Madi said it is not treason. If by telling Barrow to keep his promises treason, then he would prepare to face the court, because he think there is nothing wrong with reminding president, elected member, that you said you're gonna be here for 3 years. Now 3 years and you are changing. He said that's normal. They're going to do that. And to say that, his statements are treasonable, he said that is reckless and irresponsible. And instead, it's Mr. Jata who should resign or do a better job by advising the president to keep his promise. Who is right and who is wrong?
Is this a real question?
Yes.
Because this is... But I hope your question is rhetorical, because this is not even like... This is, the idea that these are two issues we need to actually adjudicate is absurd. Of course, here you have one, a political, so-called advisor to the president, who is just like, making bombastic statements with no basis in reality. If Mr. Jata believes that what Madi Jobat is it Madi Jobat?
Madi Ceesay now. There's no trouble making Madis,
okay.
so to speak.
If Mr. Jata believes that...
trouble Madis. The one a former journalist and the one, both of them
are journalists. They say I'm sitting common journalists. So.
Okay. Yeah, if Mr. Jada believes what Mahdi said, whichever Mahdi,
well,
the MP Mahdi,
MP, yes.
if he believes that the MP Mahdi, what he said was treason, he needs to go back to school to find out what the meaning of the word treason is. You
are definitely on the side of Mahdi.
No, it's not on the side here.
I'm just putting that.
It is. I mean, this one is. I'm actually surprised some newspapers, including yours, went with that headline because it's as if I just.
Well, it's just the freedom of expression. Mahdi had said previously that, how to call it, 3 years of serious should be maintained. This guy said Mahdi should resign. So Mahdi came back. So it will go on.
For me personally also, but you can.
Let me just finish. The question is not whether or not you have the right to say bombastic statements. Yeah. You have every right. You can go and say whatever you want. The point is, if I go and stand on the street and scream something, that's completely without any basis in reality.
He actually put it in a state house letterhead, so to speak, said coming out of the office of the president. So that makes it important news. Is the presidency talking?
It is newsworthy.
Absolutely,
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
It is newsworthy.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this is not one of those issues where there is actually a real debate to be had about who is right or wrong. Because one statement is completely devoid of any sense, of reality. It's just a bombastic claim. The whole point of this is not to actually make a conversation, but actually to create a diversion. Okay, this guy has been criticizing us. Let me try to shift the issue to at least put him on the defensive for a minute. Control the narrative rather than having a real debate here. So when journalists are covering that, they should be mindful of that, and the issue should not be presented
as caught up in the rhetoric.
Yeah,
it's very essential. I mean, it happens here quite a lot.
Right.
Sometimes we are caught up in the rhetoric, but I think the whole debate that Mahdi, and I've said it here several times. I'm not a big fan of 3 years. I've said it here. For me, I would rather have 5 years. We go to elections. If we're fed up with Barrow, let's just kick him out. It's our vote. Yeah. If we're fed up with him, we can just say, man, we can give you another term. Yeah. We just don't think you're good for this job. We can do that. It's quite simple. Yeah. Of course, it's also people's right. And let's be frank, Barrow is the one wrong here. It's people's right, absolutely. Yeah. To go and say, Mr. Barrow, you told us 5 years and that's the mandate we gave you. Yeah. Because people say, oh no, there is no contract. Contract does not need to be signed. When him and I agreed that we are going to do this, it's a contract. Contract doesn't need to be signed. Yes. And the contract that exists between a voter and the governed, it's much less like it's more like the contract that exists between a journalist and the public. We like to say we have a social contract with the people. Yeah. Now this is even more powerful than that, because in this case, you are being paid for a particular job.
We're paying you 2 million to eat. Yeah. That's just one part of the cost.
That's just one part.
We shouldn't ask you.
Yeah. So this is the point. So if Barrow goes to the Gambian people, if Barrow had gone to the Gambian people and said, well, guys, vote for me. I want to change this. And I want to change it within 3 years. Nobody had voted Barrow in mind with the understanding that he was going to solve Gambia's entire problem. In fact, nobody even gave him any problem to solve. The coalition manifesto was simply telling Barrow, come and change the laws and leave.
Exactly.
He had no mandate to build any road in this country.
Yeah,
he had no such mandate. Nobody even gave him. He just took it upon himself to do it.
Yes.
Nobody gave him a mandate to break even any stick.
Yes.
People just said, Barrow, come and do this transition, come and do this and get us the right institutions, let's move on to another person. So if you had come in and you decided, okay, you're going to stay because the law says you should stay, that is well and good. Go to the same people and tell them, guys, I think this is what we've agreed on. But I think in my wisdom, this is what is practical, and let's do that. But you don't go and hold a rally. And in fact, your own people had gone to start a discussion to decide how to convince Gambian people to believe in this.
Yes.
While they were at Kairaba holding that discussion, you went to open a fans club. Does a statesman do that?
So that's I mean, another thing is, at least even from the at least 1 year into office, Barrow was still nursing I mean, he was making us to believe that it is the Gambian people who will finally decide whether he stayed 3 or 5. But now he's changed. He said nobody can stop him from doing that.
And that nobody, it's quite a tough statement. You can't say that. Because as a president, your mandate is a total accumulation of the votes of the Gambian people, of the majority of the Gambian people. So you can say no one can, because someone has put you in the position. You see, so I mean, sometimes when you are a leader's expression should mirror your degree of responsibility, your maturity.
Let's go back to Madi before we get Shaka's argument. Madi, you just said that people, of course, have a right to demonstrate.
Yes.
Why do you think supporters of Barrow think that the mere word of demonstration means inciting violence?
So this is a Gambian problem.
So Gambians see demonstration.
It's not just Barrow supporters. You see,
Gambians, because of what happened on the Jammeh, they think demonstration is just automatic call of violence.
Our problem, I am with Madi Jobate, our problem in the Gambia is its problem with political parties.
Political parties.
This is not a Barrow problem that we think protest is violence. In fact, common sense tells us that each time there is a protest in this country and the police deny people a permit, there is violence. But each time there is a protest and the police grant us permit, no violence. The Fadoi protest, there are a series of examples.
Yes.
All the protests that they've denied permit,
they
went and do it and it turns to violence. All the protests they allowed people to do. So this idea that a citizen's right to expression is violence. This idea that your opponent is not as patriotic as you are. This idea that anybody who doesn't listen to the commander-in-chief is not patriotic or is a lesser Gambian to another, or this idea that some people are 50% Gambians and others are 20 and others are 100. It's ridiculous. This is what causes our problem.
Doctor, you help us, because I see people, you know, almost painting demonstration as definitely, a process that is really condemnable and violent. And they say, don't ask your children to go there. People are using your children to go and demonstrate. They wouldn't go. They want you to be killed. As if still now, even on the Jammeh, going to demonstrate putting yourself to death automatically. Should you think like that?
Well, there are a couple of...
There's a dictatorship tendency still. I mean, the authorities are still...
Both in the authorities and in the society, in the minds of the people.
Yeah. So we have a trouble there. We have some. What do we do now to actually demystify this mystery that when you go to demonstration, it means you can die there? What do we do? The security reform, can that help if it is completed? Perhaps the people know that, look, all we need to do
Doctor is the good friend to the securities.
Yeah.
Maybe let him take us
What
to
do
the
we do
securities.
to change this perception that demonstrations can be peaceful and they must be allowed because they are part and parcel of the constitutional right of the people, as long as they are peaceful? But then the authorities now are telling us that no demonstration can be peaceful. The best thing is not to demonstrate. So what do you make of it?
No, I mean, the responsibility starts with the government. I mean, the government, first of all, they should not, it's the government that is contributing significantly to this misconception that just by going onto the street,
to scare people.
Yes. No, because the government right now does not want anyone in December to come out and demonstrate because of this issue of this street. They want the issue to people to just quietly accept the decision of Adam Barrow to change his promise from 3 to 5 years. Wow. So it is this disinformation campaign that if you go out to express, your opinion, to basically your right to free speech and your right to assembly, to go and actually do it, you you are basically contributing to violence. So government is deliberately putting out this misinformation that any form of protest, you know,
in fact, some
is
liking it too. I hear some officials said they want to remove an elected government. What do you make of? Are the demonstrations this 3 years journey? Is their objective to ask Adama to leave State House in December by force, or they just want to show their unhappiness?
The truth is, you know, in this country, little honesty would save us. Just a little honesty. When you go to the people, when Barrow went to the people, no one asked Barrow to do, nobody imposed this on Barrow. Barrow willingly went to the Gambian people and told them, because I followed him every village he visited.
Village. And he said it on tapes, no?
And it was, we were chronicling it on the Standard. We were every place he had a meeting, we had a summary of his statement. And even on the day of the convention, this is what he told
that's what he's been saying.
So if you are going to change something you've told the people, what do? You come back to those same people and tell them, guys, I said this, but we're not going to be able to do this. I think we do that.
So he left the problem.
And then you start the discussion.
Now, let's look at this politically. I mean, you know, of course, this whole matter did not gain momentum until when the UDP left the government.
Absolutely.
Because the UDP's position had been, well, this was Mr. Dabo's position, although now I hear that that position may be different from the UDP.
More or less.
He had said that, and he said it in front of my Fati was there, I think Hamad Ba, everybody was there. He said, look, this idea of serving 3 years is no longer, in fact, if anybody wants to insist on it, I will go to court to interpret this. So there and there, the whole idea of 3 years is gone. So when Mr. Dabo and Mr. Barrow were sharing a dinner table, there was no problem with Mr. Barrow serving 5 years, because obviously there was no issue like that. And Mr. Barrow and Mr. Dabo and some UDP people are still saying, seemingly, that they have no problem with 5 years, as long as the president will stop there and will not aspire to go for another term. I saw this group of people, Doctor, did you see those? There are others who said they have no problem with 5 years, as long as the president can promise that he's not going to contest. There are others who say, okay, whatever happens, come back to us and say, why are you changing mind, we want 5 years? But to stay and be arrogant and say, I'm not going to go out now, they said they won't accept that. Which of the two are the lesser devil?
I'm not going to adjudicate who is the lesser devil or not. I mean, obviously, you're going to have people whose positions, it depends on how convenient it is. We've seen it in the case of members of UDP, and of course in Barrow's in this case. So, I mean, that's
why I was talking about honesty.
Yeah. So
Dabo should not have made that statement.
Yeah.
It was wrong.
It was wrong.
Absolutely. It was wrong. This is not a court case. Yeah. This is not a constitutional case. This is someone going to people to tell them, this is what I want to do, and lying about it.
Yes.
So what do you do when an elder lies about something?
So Mr. Salah had said, we, the government, not the coalition leaders, but the ordinary governments need to find a solution the way forward. What can we do?
Which older Gambians?
Mr. Salah said it's wrong to say the coalition leaders are the people who can solve it. When Mr. Barrow sacked the coalition leaders, they couldn't do anything about that. So he said they are powerless.
Are they powerless?
That's what Mr. Salah said.
Now let's talk of real power. Let's sit down here.
What Mr. Salah said? Let me tell you what Mr.
Salah was wrong.
No, listen.
Let's think of power.
Doctor, Salah said, okay, example. The president was acting the way he was. Nobody could do anything, despite the agreement.
They could do something.
All right, one, he sacked Lawyer Dabo. He sacked the rest. My Fat and others. They could not do anything about that sacking.
No.
So if the president is left listening to those people, what more will he listen to from them?
Okay,
that's what Salah is trying to say.
Okay, so I want us to look at the powers these people have. Let's not be distracted by what they say they don't have. Let's not be distracted. Salah said they are powerless, right? You know where the coalition started failing? The coalition started failing even way before, even the coalition from the first day Barrow got elected. Because the coalition has mechanisms. The coalition was not just some white paper that was supposed to deliver the golden egg. No. It was a white paper that says, this is the goal, this is how we are going to get to the goal. There was supposed to be a coalition government and a coalition secretariat. And the secretariat will be regularly looking at the progress of the implementation of the manifesto. But also, the coalition implementation of the even cabinet appointments were supposed to be subjected to coalition approval. None of these things were done. There was no coalition secretariat, nothing was done. Now, let's move forward. You are telling me the coalition, Salah says they are powerless. Now, let me tell you that Barrow has no actual power in reality. Barrow is the president. Commander-in-chief, of course, executive chief is very powerful in this country. But let's look at who can change the laws here. It's the National Assembly. Can't you sponsor private member bills? Of course. Does the Justice Minister intend goods for this country? I believe so. And he plays a part. Now, one. How many lawmakers does the UDP have? 31. How many does the PDOS have? 5. How many do NRP have? 5. Them alone, even when Barrow doesn't want, they can sponsor their private member bills. There was only one private member bill that was sponsored to the National Assembly, Section 91, changing it. That is what benefits the National Assembly member, because that helps them so that they are not being able to be fired by their political parties.
So if
you understand,
what can this be?
now these are people who all that they do is press conference and talking. These political parties, that's what they do. That's what UDP does. That's what APRC, PDYs does. That's what NRP does. All that they do is talking. How many? What are the regional heads? Who are they? Who do they serve? The regional heads, 5 of them are all UDP. Only one is GDC. One of them is, well, if we use the military term, is Ewal. He's absent without leave from UDP, apparently. The Kama one.
No, don't say that. He's around.
In the eyes of the UDP, is Ewal.
He's a rebel.
That's what I'm saying. So, but with the exception of that, the UDP has all the regional infrastructure in their hands. You are telling me you are still powerless. You have power in your hands and you are still powerless.
If I may just add on to that, can I just add? So just to add on to his point, which I totally agree with, not only do they have power and they refuse to exercise any power, to say the Gambian people, it's up to the Gambian people to do something about it. Well, Gambian people are doing something about it. People are voicing their opposition against Mr. Barrow breaking his promise. And there is a grassroots movement to protest. What can you do as a citizen? When election comes, you vote, you exercise your freedom of speech, your freedom of assembly, you do all of these things. This is the power that ordinary Gambians have, and this is what they are actually doing. So the ordinary citizen, they are doing what they are supposed to do. Obviously, in an issue like this, you can't have everybody move in one voice. There's a diversity of opinions on this matter, and that is reflected in the Gambian people. So the people are doing what they're supposed to do. But as Mr. Dabo pointed out, not every member of the coalition, and I think he said something that I want to stress. You know, this is an indictment against the coalition. The key here is whether or not the memorandum of understanding between the parties was signed or not. It's not important in the issue of whether Barrow should respect the 3 years or not. But the fact that these people didn't sign the MOU tells you their lack of seriousness about, you know, the agreements and how important that agreement is to them. So that one is just one problem. It's symbolic. It's a symbolic failure because beyond that, the other aspects of the coalitions that needed to be in place, as Mr. Dabo pointed out, were never in place. So the whole membership of this coalition, they showed a lack of seriousness, a lack of responsibility. The problems we are facing today is not, you know, of course you can apportion blames by different degrees to different people, but all of them involved, every member of this coalition. Obviously, they did their part. I mean, they did great work in defeating Jammeh, but they definitely failed
to deliver what they promised.
Yeah, in many ways.
And all of them.
They are not all of them. No exception.
Well, what did Mr. Salah try to say that he actually proposed the brightest idea, and people oppose it. So,
what is the brightest idea?
Where will you blame Doi in this?
But what is the brightest idea?
Excuse me if I push you to name names. But
yes.
He has been projecting that if Doi's idea, like we have wholesome...
Which specific idea?
Which specific idea?
That is where we leave a coalition agenda from president to parliament.
What is the
independent coalition agenda.
You want to have independent national assembly
That's what he
members.
said. If that happened, he said...
The APRC would have been the majority leader.
So it's a bad idea.
Terrible idea.
Where
Where
did Doi got it wrong then? Where did they get it wrong?
Look, it's not about Doi. I don't want to apportion. I don't want to apportion blame to individual
but
parties.
we said they are collectively at fault, all of them. But then each one will come with his argument which one is best.
No, my point
Doi recently highlighted their position, and that's what we're trying to scrutinize. Are they right to say they have the best idea, which people oppose, and now we are all suffering? Or you don't agree? People often said, Khalifa's own failure and CDS to take up cabinet positions perhaps explains what you know.
I don't think that was a failure.
Yes. I don't see anything wrong.
That was not a failure.
They said it's running away from responsibility.
No.
That's what they accused them of.
National Assembly is as good as the cabinet. That was not running away from responsibility.
But if they are partisan, what influence can he
No,
do?
but it's not about being partisaned. You see, I think Salad is a very valuable addition to this National Assembly. No doubt. None of us doubt that.
Yes.
No one doubt ever that CDA is a valuable addition in this. No one doubts that.
Yes.
No one is saying they shouldn't go to the National Assembly. Yeah. What Gajigo and I are saying is simply that the coalition is powerful. They still could reform things. Reform is still within their reach. Yeah. They didn't even have to wait for Barrow to do that. They shouldn't be crying at press conferences. That's what we are telling you.
But come on, what can they do with Barrow? Who sacked them in the first place?
Why did they do with Section 91D? Didn't they change it?
Yes.
They still have the National Assembly. Do you know they can summon anybody at the National Assembly?
But they can't.
Do you know they can check, they can make sure our money is efficiently and effectively spent? They can do that. National Assembly is one single most powerful institution in this country.
That is if they have not been already split into factions.
But why are they split?
That's the problem.
Then let them blame them, let them not blame the Gambian people. They came to the Gambian people with a mandate, and Gambian people said, we are happy with your manifesto, we're giving you a mandate. Exactly. That's how we are, that's what we can do.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Well, that's about it in the press review, and of course what was trending in the Brunch in Kerfatu. We're now changing to our entrepreneur of the week. Our entrepreneur of the week is in the house this time around. He is Mr. Lamin Jaune, and he's a founder of Wonma. Wonma is a wall of balance, if you like, which translates in English as show me.
Exactly.
Now, Wonma is starting when you say tech camp, it's a technology camp in SEO, senior secondary school. And the intent of the program is to expose young people to different career opportunities in the field of technology. Now, we want you to start with first things first. Who is Lamin Jaune?
Thank you very much, Lamin Cham. And Assalamu alaikum to beautiful viewers out there. Okay. Lamin Jaune is a young Gambian entrepreneur, a software engineer by profession, and the CEO and founder of Wonma. We call it the Wonma Group, simply because there are different other components. We have the Wonma Sports, the Wonma Business, and like you rightly mentioned as well, the Tech Camp.
Wonma in Wolof. Why do you go for? Most people use big English hyperboles to tell people what their business. You talk Wonma, and somebody will say, "Wow, what does it mean for us?"
Yes, I think that's a very interesting question as well. Well, the name the name came from Dakar. I studied in Senegal, and the whole idea is to look at how do we brand Africa in our own African context. Because we believe we can tell the story more than any other person. And then first, initially, it was looked at to be the Google of Africa, especially around Senegambia. So we came with the name Wonma, that is like show me.
Show me, yeah.
So we know we can't be, we need that to focus on certain sectors.
Yes.
And then we had sport. We also looked at the business sector as well, and education. So there are other sectors that we interested in looking at, but because we are a startup, like you already mentioned, so we believed we needed to start slow and start it somewhere.
So when you said tech, and it's at the secondary school, what do you mean by that?
Yes.
Is that where it started or where it's located?
No. This is the 4th edition of the tech camp.
Oh, no, the camp is coming to happen there too.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is starting tomorrow.
So what do we expect? What kind of things happen there? Do you come and just do an exhibition of what you do, or how do people take interest in this?
Yes. Looking at the whole idea of the tech camp, first, it's the tech camp, like you rightly mentioned earlier, it's a camp that brings young people together to expose them to different career opportunities in the field of ICT. Because so far, we believed ICT, it's only looked at as a tool, and just recently an enabler. And to us, we think it goes beyond that.
Okay.
And then to transform Gambia and Africa generally, it's to consider, to look at sectors like ICT. So, and then Gambia being a very young people with like young people, so it's like, and then we in a digital world. But most young people, it's unfortunate in Gambia that we only believe that the basic things, what we do in IT are just the Word and the Excel and the PowerPoints and like, that's tech. And
you go
we
more
go
than
beyond. So we initiated the tech camp. One, to help these young people realize that there are hundreds of job opportunities in ICT.
Okay.
And therefore there are over 100 different fields in ICT as well.
Okay.
So what we do, we bring facilitators, we bring a network expert, a software guy, a hardware guy, and these are all experts in their fields. We bring a web developer who facilitate classes from morning, from the theory part, and then take them to the practical aspect. At least this will help young people to realize that this field exists in ICT, but also what other career opportunities can they have when they study software engineering, or when they do networking. What do they expect? Because we strongly believe there are two things when it comes to job. It's either passion or money.
Yeah.
So we first...
Or both.
Yeah, or both. So, and we strongly believe that the best
Mustafa has a passion for journalism, but he also want money.
Yes. So we strongly believe the best it's both is because you need to pay your bills anyways.
Okay.
But then what's more important is the passion out there.
So you mean you conduct classes during the period of the
yes,
camp?
and every day we will have a class.
It's a 1 week camp, or?
Yes, it's 1 week. So every
starting
day,
today?
Starting tomorrow. So every day we'll bring someone. Let's say the first day we'll have introduction to software. Then the participants will go through to different software aspects.
Okay.
And then to hardware, to networking.
Okay.
And then the final day of the camp, we have something very interesting. It's called the Innovation Day.
Yeah.
We group these participants to different groups and ask them to present on an innovation. We're looking at different problems across.
Okay.
And then look at solutions technologically wise in solving those problems. So that's what we do.
Why did you choose SL? People would have said in terms of access, that would be difficult to access for people who might be interested. Why? SL, you need to cross the river if you are from this area. Why did you choose SL?
Yes.
Or are you targeting rural participants?
We started the tech camp. This is the 4th edition, like I said.
And it's always been SL?
No.
Okay.
We started in Banjul.
Okay.
And then the combos, we did one we did 2 in Banjul actually.
Okay.
And then another one in the KMC.
Okay.
That
So
was at
so now you are going to the province.
So we said to ourselves, we need to go across. We need to reach everyone. So we be like, now it needs to go regional. So lucky for us, we had a partner in SAU that said, well, we think we can do this together. They're also interested, and yeah, there we are.
Dr. Gajigo, are you impressed?
No, this is excellent. I mean, these are the sort of the young entrepreneurs the country needs. So I hope we have more people like him. And obviously, he more than anyone can tell you, what he is trying to do. What are some of the constraints they face? Maybe what are some of the what's the possible role of government or other entities that can ameliorate those constraints. So, so what I'm actually interested in, since you started doing this, what are some of the obstacles that you face and that you think, could be, could somehow, either policymakers or other entities could do to actually encourage and, give you the space you need to actually grow and, in fact, innovate even more than you are doing right now?
Thank you very much once again. I think, like you rightly mentioned, obviously it's been challenging. Bringing young people together, gather them in one place, need a lot of expenses. Yeah. And then even though we charge, it's just $300. That's the t-shirt, certificate, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Wow. For a week. So it's a giveaway. That's a giveaway. And then we at one more we looked at this as one of our corporate social responsibility, even though we are a startup that doesn't even have money, like nothing at all. The first two tech camps were really challenging, and we had to put money ourselves to make sure the camp goes. The second one, at the third edition, we actually had a bit of a funding. It's just a small grant from a company outside called Africa's Talking. They're based in Kenya. Oh, right. And then this time around, we're glad to say we also have a kind of a sponsorship package, which is very small, but at least we wish every other entity could help, and these are private companies. So this time we had an entity called the Destructive Lab, which is owned by Point Click Global, Malik, and we say a very thank you to them. At least they have a sponsorship package to at least to be part of it, because they also are interested in tech and disruption and innovation. Good. Even but going back to the main question, I think government looking at young people, I think these are kind of ventures that government really needs to help young people to be self-independent. When you look at the economy, when you look at other countries, young people, when you look at the 10 richest, let's say in the world, 7 out of 10 are tech guys. So tech it's one thing that could help create millionaires. It's one that could also help. When you look at how many softwares have been used by these banks, by other institutions, all that, our health sector has been stocked, the education system, and I think innovation could help solve these issues. All you need is bring young people in a platform, give them what they need. We've had a lot of hackathons. I told them, I keep saying this. I've been to the biggest event in Nairobi, that's the Seed Stars. And I've seen the kind of innovation that young people present. When I came back to the Gambia, believe me, I know they're not smarter than us. Excellent. I know they don't have because they've been supported, and because Kenya and Nairobi has been it's been branded. Absolutely. Because Rwanda and other East African countries are also branded. Example, we can do this. We've had a lot of hackathons. Actually. We've had a lot of young people that are building and developing amazing things. Exactly. But at the end of the hackathon, it goes. No one takes it off. We've seen young people develop the most amazing health systems, educational systems. But it's just a hackathon. You compete for a prize, and at the end of the day, no one talks about it.
Nobody continues with it.
So I believe the government could do something in hackathons, in young people, and invest in tech, and take tech so serious that this is not just a tool or an enabler. It goes beyond that.
So the 4th edition, the camp should be should get underway tomorrow.
Yes.
In SO.
Yes.
And runs up to
the 3rd.
The 3rd
of September.
Wow. So that's quite about a week or so.
Yeah, around 8 days or so.
Okay. All right. So, so people watching this wanting to take part, and they still have a chance to. Or have you now collected all the participants?
Yes, I think it's unfortunate that we've closed.
You've closed. Oh,
yes.
I've not had.
So we actually now, and then it's also important to note that this time we're targeting most of our participants around the NBR region. Because it's there, so it's there.
Now you're explaining why NBR.
Yes.
Okay.
So we want to, when you look at the grade 12 results, it's quite fascinating. We've seen better results. We've seen really good results from places like SL and other schools across the regions. So I believe we have smart people around. I believe those young people, the less privileged ones, also deserved the best of the services. And yes, there we go.
Lamin Jamone of how do I call it? Wonma Tech Camp, which will get underway tomorrow. It gets underway tomorrow in Esso. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Lamin, and thank you,
Dr. Ousman Gajigo and
Mustafa. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to
Yes.
Well,
thank you.
You can be with us until we close the show, and so that you can have a shout or a bye-bye or a welcome thanks to your viewers, our viewers around the world and in the country, particularly who wants to go to the tech camp in SL. Well, thank you once again, Mr. Jaune, Mustafa, Dr. Ousman Gajigo, always handy with very insightful analysis on matters Gambian, be they political, economics, etc., etc. Our technical crew, Charles and crew, on behalf of everybody, Slamin Cham wishing you have a great week. Goodbye.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
ñoo ñëw ak yéen rek skincare plus nara jàkkaarloo ak yéen waxtaan ak yéen tuuti rek si suñu tube suñu baax emuñ rek ci ay diw waaye comme ni ngeen ko xamee rek dañoo yëngu ci ay tube te yënguwuñ nag si just any tube suñ tube bu nekk 5-star jesna la 5-star jesna mooy jesna bi gën a pire moom la ñoo tube palmaan bi gën a fort moom la ñoo liggéeyee buñ demee Bamako ñun duñ dem ci marché bi rek buub indi déedéet dañ leen a jox suñu specs ne leen nii lañ ko buggee nay lañ ko buggee fóot bi nangami fóot lañ bugga pour mu mun a set waaw cuubi skincare déedéet doo ko sol mu di la taxa all over the place ci gàttal ñun rek si cuub dara du doy day des not only dañoo cuub but bu la neexee ñu cuubal la ba pare nag ñawal la ñaw fi mu gën a setee nag rek la ñoo fëlee ñetti ñawkat lañ am nañ ñawkati simple nga xam ne xoppati rek mbaa def sa taille basse def sa dagit def sa roba amul benn dawme am nañ koo xam ne moo ñoo dawmel daw mi jigéen then am nañ tamit special ñëwkat boo xam ne ñëwi góor rek la ñoo defal nga bugg a sa his and hers muy korité muy tobaski mbaa muy ngénte muy takka mbaa nga bugg a rek def sa yëkka bu baax a baax daagul ba ñëw Skin Care Plus ñu dimbali la tànnal la cuub fam gën a baaxee ndax sa yëkka gën a foor lii nga ne lan xoolal bi takka la skincare fii la fu léegi yéen tey we're not all about skin we are skin care and the plus does come in so many different ways. Cubantu wuñ de dañ cub bam saf-saf
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.